Hello to everyone watching this footage. I hope you guys are able to hear me this time because I tried to do a live broadcast yesterday and I was mute, and I just really hope I'm doing this correctly this time. And if not, I severely apologize. So, for newcomers, I am Leviathan. I'm born high functioning autistic. I'm obsessed with fiction, and I'm planning to make my own creative universe like the late Stan Lee did for his. For this particular secondary live broadcast, I'm going to introduce stuff to my Levitt's paradigm, which is like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet that is, as of right now, the main source for my Leviathan universe. I'm going to track down some data randomly, and I hope there would be some satisfaction for whoever is hearing me right now. And it's okay if it's not immediately. I just hope I'm doing this correctly? Okay, there's a bunch of stuff on my Levitt's paradigm. For example, there's electric wolves, which are wolves that also are capable of electrical capabilities and such. Like, imagine electric wolves, basically. There's the gorilla boabus, which is basically head and front limbs of a gorilla, body of a boa constrictor, and the tentacles of an octopus at the end of the boa body. That might be something fluent. It's very close to the size, like in terms of length, it's like as long as a bus, I think. I I hope it was something fluent on you guys' behalf. There's the gorilla conda, which is half gorilla, half anaconda, which is different from a boa constrictor for good reasons, to be honest. There's the ice orcas, which are orca whales that are radiating with ice based capabilities, if that makes sense. There's also a thing called ice blood. Real name, inapplicable. Height and weight vary. Status villain, base mobile, intelligence 3.5 brains, behavior sinister and disgusting. Lethality, during a fight or craving. Weaknesses, extreme heat and vaporization. Powers: ice, blood, and slime-based powers. Huge appetite, mutates others, and hard to kill. Weapons: none. No eyes whatsoever, no hair whatsoever, no need for an outfit for obvious reasons. Team solitary or partner, species mutation, beetle level below average, special features, genetic powers and appetite. Transportation: oozing and powers. Occupations: resident of tundras, like the Arctic, for example, a horror of the cold. Friends, partners, enemies unofficial. Inspiration, a storyline known as Blood Glacier, which is a legitimate storyline if you ask me. There's also Leechalantercroc. Think of it this way: it's the head of a leech, the body of a tarantula, and the tail and feet of a crocodile, as far as I know. And it's really big. It's approximately like 15 to 20 feet long. So that should be a really interesting creature if you think about it, in its own right at least. And just so you know, I am planning to make two new illustrations for my dad's behalf. One is an elephant skeeto, which is half elephant, half mosquito, and the other one is a leechopotamus, which is a cross between a leech and a hippo. You know, think of it this way: head of an elephant, body of a mosquito, and it's the size of an elephant, like apparently, and its trunk would also serve as a proboscis. The leechopotamus, think of it this way: head of a hippopotamus and body of a leech, and it would be like 15 feet long, as far as I know, close to the size of a hippo at least. There's a lot of impressive stuff I've got here. I just hope I'm not jumping the gun, and I hope I'm comprehensible for you guys. And if not, I apologize. And second mention, I hope my microphone's working this time. Otherwise, it's gonna lead to a bad collision course. There's also mummy gators, which are basically mummified gators brought to life, as far as I know. There's mummy dragons, mummy elephants, a bunch of different examples. Um, like night rabbits, which are basically like imagine a 13-foot tall, 4-ton rabbit that, as far as I know, is predatory. That's inspired from an actual horror story in the past known as Night of the Lepus, which is literally about giant predatory rabbits, believe it or not. 10. 10. I have a bunch of characters too. Like, say, for example, like Poseidon of Greek mythology. There's the post-traumatic shark that haunts those who have ended up with post-traumatic stress. Like, it's basically a psychological, spiritual monstrosity as well. And there is also the portal of dimensions, which basically transport people to alternate dimensions, as far as I know. There's the political rodent virus, which is inspired from an actual storyline called, like, actual footage called Rat Apocalypse, which is basically that, you know? There's the polar walrus, which is head of a walrus, body of a polar bear. There is a bunch of different stuff. I'm trying to figure stuff out for you. There's Peanutta, who is a woman who's born with a severe peanut allergy, that if she eats peanuts, she mutates into something Lovecraftian and disfigured for a maximum of 12 hours and a minimum of 6 hours at a time. You know, she is able to mutate different attributes during her allergic reaction and such, but of course it would leave her severely disfigured. A plesiodon, which is a cross between a plesiosaur and a shark. And just so you know, the Loch Ness Monster resembles a plesiosaur in terms of anatomical design, if that makes any sense. There's the Platyrexodon, which is basically a three-way cross between a platypus, a T-Rex, and a shark. Basically, head of a platypus, body of a T-Rex, tail and fins of a shark, and I think the front limbs would be that of a platypus as well, if that makes any sense. There's also the Plantsketo, which is basically head of a Venus flytrap, body of a mosquito, as far as I know. Seems fluent as far as I could figure out. There's pirannoids, which are human piranha hybrids, you know. There's the piranha whale, which is basically, think of it this way: head of a predatory whale, body of a piranha, and as far as I know, it's in in between the sizes between, like, maybe it's like the size of a legitimate whale, just to give you some context, if that makes sense. Then there's Pirannosaur, which is half piranha, half mosasaur. There's Pill of Infinity that grants you with infinite knowledge, but the problem is that once it wears off, it would give you severe, like, withdrawal psychologically, and it just sometimes it would leave you comatose for a month, depending on how severe the withdrawal is in terms of taking it, as far as I know. Leopard Skeeto Croc. Basically, head of a mosquito, well, head and wings of a mosquito, body of a leopard, tail of a crocodile, and possibly has the feet of a crocodile as well, depending on the circumstances, you know? There's also a leopard zebra, which is head of a zebra, well, head and hooves of a zebra, and the rest of the body is that of a leopard, as far as I know. I'm just trying my best to make this comprehensible for you guys, so I apologize in advance. There's also a creature known as a legless lizard, which basically, in this case, it would be like 12 to 15 feet long. So imagine a lizard that's that long with no legs. Just so you know, it's not a snake. A legless lizard is an actual animal that's not a snake, I swear. Lake dinosaurs, which are dinosaurs that thrive in the lakes, like legitimately. There's the king wolf, which is basically a like head of a lion, body of a wolf, as far as I know. There's a king python, which is head of a lion, body of a python. And just so you guys know, there's three things that make pythons, anacondas, and boas different, at least in my Leviathan universe. The anaconda has the strongest PSI of any of the constricting snakes. The python is able to spray venom from its mouth, and the boa constrictor has like a jagged appendage on the end of its tail, which would serve as like a makeshift spear, even though it's biological, if that makes any sense. Just so you know, that's the difference between those three creatures, as far as I know. Of course, there's the Killzars, which are basically there's a species of alien loosely inspired from the xenomorph called the Zanzars, and the Leviathan universe equivalent of the Predators, or Yauja, is basically the space killers. The Killzars is the Leviathan universe equivalent of the Predalians, which is a hybrid between xenomorph and Yauja. And I hope I'm not confusing you. I'm just trying to make this work some way, somehow. K cells for the character Kygyricus. Her cells are labeled as K cells because it tends to assimilate every other kind of cell into a kaiju-based level, if that makes any sense at all. There's Katie Middleton, who is like, as far as I know, the descendant of John Middleton, who is like a 10-foot tall man. So Katie Middleton would basically be like 10 to 12 feet tall, as far as I know. There's the Canibians, which is an alien species of Amazonian cannibals. That they are dedicated to protein, but they would make sure to never eat the flesh of someone who's younger than 18 years old because they fear that it would lead to a curse that would lead to them perishing altogether. So they do have some sense of morality in terms of that. There's the Juggalo Queen, which is a name that says it all. And just so you know, I have different aspects and concepts for different hybrid monstrosities. There's tomatoes, trees, houses, cars, donuts. Trying to think of some other stuff like tires and shopping carts, as far as I know, all of which are things that I do legitimately for different options for biological hybrids. You know, it's fluent in its own right, and hope I'm doing this correctly. Think of a creature that is basically. This might be a little hard to perceive. So let's just say it's waist up the body of a praying mantis and waist down the body of a jellyfish. So therefore, it's a jelly mantis. That's the best visual calculation I could figure out for the creature. So I hope you understand. Sometimes you just have to figure something out. There's the jelly bear, which is half grizzly bear, half jellyfish. So think of it as head of a grizzly bear and body of a jellyfish, if that makes any sense. 10. Jagged spiders, which are giant spiders completely covered in jagged spikes, as far as I know, that might be used as throwing darts and such. It's pending, but it makes sense. There's Jackalope, who's half human, half jackalope, which is half rabbit, half deer. There's Jack the Ripper himself and his descendant, Jessica Ripperman. Like Jack the Ripper is unable to die, but also he's unable to leave the boundaries of Whitechapel, London. His descendant, Jessica Ripperman, is able to travel anywhere in the world, but is unable to travel in any of the boundaries of Whitechapel. So basically the reverse. And I just hope it's fluent, you know? There's an iron shark, which, as far as I know, is a shark composed of iron. So basically, think of it as like a construct. There's an invisible shark, which is legitimate. There's the invaders, which are loosely inspired from the harvesters, which, just in case you don't know, the harvesters are the aliens from Independence Day. I guess I should go a bit downwards because variety is a necessary thing. Micro octopi, which are like, think of it as microscopic octopi. That is a legitimate thing. There's Microwaver, which, as far as I know, is a character, I think, that is capable of cooking people from the inside out. Hence, Microwaver. I hope my Young is not copyrighted, because if it is, I would have to remove it. There's Mimi the Meme, who's basically capable of altering reality to make it like an endless meme, but only when she's around would reality act like that, you know? It's actually quite impressive. Imagine a meteor that crash lands on Earth, happens to be an egg. She hatches from the egg and starts warping reality within a 100-foot circumference of herself, as far as I know, and it would leave you speechless in terms of why even, you know? There's the mental and intergalactic neural dimension, also known as mind. which is loosely inspired from the STEM system of the Evil Within games 1 and 2, as far as I know. There's the mind. There's Miss Bionic, which, as far as I know, is inspired from the Bionic Woman, which is a very popular show when my parents were still teenagers, during that time lapse, and also a remake that wasn't successful. So instead of having right ear, right arm, and both legs being bionic, she's from head to toe bionic, if that makes any sense. There's Miss Improbability, who is capable of making all things unlikely happen, regardless of what they happen to be, which she's loosely inspired from a special machine known as the Infinite Improbability Drive, which relies on the improbability of anything at all in order to transport ships faster than hyperspace drive in terms of speed and such. But of course, it also involves the unlikelihood of anything ever to actually become the case for an undisclosed amount of time. 10. Models for. Just so you know, some of this stuff on my Levitt's paradigm have more data than others. So I apologize in advance for any hesitation and such. I'm just, you know, um, there's a bunch of stuff. There's like monkey baboons, which, believe it or not, is a thing. Half traditional monkey and half baboons, as far as I know. Diddly tin monkey houses, which are half monkey, half house. Diddly tee, diddly tee, Well, let me check something. Wow, I think I've overshot my thing, and I hope that you guys are still able to hear me right now. And if not, I severely, severely apologize. And I hope you guys have a fine time and such. And the 11 people in the United Kingdom, thank you for your consideration and such. And if you guys want, you could like, subscribe, and comment down below. It's your choice. And until next time, I'm Leviathan. Hope you guys have a fine Thanksgiving and rest of the year and such. Until next time, in transmission.